This is Tom's World Beer Tour, a podcast story featuring Tom Boman and Tom Bradley. Now, crack one open and let the tour begin.
Welcome to it. Hey, it is really good to see you made it here today because I know you've had a lot on your mind.
Yeah, it's been a lot today.
Tom Boman, I did not think you'd be here with us today. I thought you'd be busy doing something else. When you're having a good time, it's hard to break away from that, especially to join one of your good buddies and sit back with a beer. So
I do have a beer. Look, I got one right there.
You do have a beer going.
I
do as well. That's very good. All right. So, listen, we need to set the stage and let everybody know where we are today. There's a couple of things going on right now that have me a little off kilter. We'll explain that in a moment. You've got your own thing setting you off kilter. For Tom's World Beer Tour, I didn't know that you would look at this and say, of all the places in all the world that we need to go have a beer, that you would pick out a very well-known amusement park and say that's the place.
So when this trip was originally scheduled for last March of 2020.
This trip.
And Disney shut down the park the week before we were supposed to go.
Oh, the damn pandemic COVID crap.
So then we moved it. We moved it to like April. Then we moved it to May. And then we finally just said, forget it. It's not going to happen this year. And the boys said, hey, listen, we know that you have to wear masks at Disney. We still want to go, even if we have to wear masks. And so we decided that January would be the best time to go. And this was before you and I had really decided we're going to do this show. We're going to have this show, this video cast, this podcast. And so we said, okay, we'll do every other week in 2020. And then beginning in 2021, we'll go every single Wednesday, 52 weeks. And I remember telling you a couple weeks ago, hey, by the way, actually it might have been 3 weeks ago because before I was going to California. By the way, not only is this show in California going to be remote, but the way the calendar works, I'm going to be in Orlando for the first show of 2021.
You know, we could have skipped, and we could have started next week instead of starting this off with you at Disney World.
I mean, really, but what fun would that be? What fun would that be? Because, first of all, you got to see what I wore on the plane yesterday. You got to see the matching shirts that we all wore. And then today, as we got up to go to the park, by the way, I'm at Disney World. If anybody hasn't figured it out now, we're at Disney World. There's other theme parks down here, but we're 5 days at Disney World. We're at Disney, and then
honest to God, I don't even understand how the parks work. So at some point, you've got to explain it to me. Although I'll never go. But be that as it may, are you wearing a shirt today that is special for today's visit?
Yeah. So today I also had a shirt, and I'm wearing it now. So mind you, yesterday everybody had the exact same shirt. It said Disney Bound, with ears on it, right? So if you saw the promos, the last two promos, you saw that. Today the shirts are custom. So like the boys says, I think best day ever, and my son says let's do this, and the O and the do is Mickey silhouette, the ear silhouette.
Yeah. Can I guess what yours says?
You can guess, and I'll reveal it to you. I mean, mind you, they're all this color, which I'm told is heather red.
Well, you are the patriarch of this family that is at Disney World.
I am.
So it says I'm a Disney grandpa.
Oh God, no. Well, first of all, in my house we don't use the word grand. We've never used grand. I'm not called grandpa.
What are you called?
They will call me either Papa or they will call me Pops. It depends on which one it is.
Papa or Pops.
And I'm fine with both of those. Both of those work for me.
And so it doesn't say I'm a Disney grandpa. All right.
No, it does not.
It says, oh God, I don't. So it's not as cheesy as that.
Oh no, I mean it's really more factual.
My family drug me to Disney World, and I'm just.
I mean, it's not as that factual, but it's pretty factual. It's pretty much to the point. Like everyone, by the way, everybody is here. They're all look. If I go to camera 2 right now, look.
Again, this is a podcast.
Look, they're in the house. There's Jeff. Oh, he's got his shirt on.
Hold on.
You see it?
This is a podcast.
Yeah, so we're gonna explain. So I'm on what we would call camera 2, and now they've all left the thing. I'm at the rental house. So for those of you watching a video,
stop.
What?
Stop.
What?
Hold on.
What?
This is first and foremost a podcast.
Is
so
it
if
though?
you're
More people
listen.
consume this in video than they do in audio.
You got to do me a favor. Since we're separated right now, don't interrupt me. I will give you a chance. This is a podcast. So if you're listening to a podcast and you say, "Let's go to camera 3," well, let's go to camera 3, Johnny. There is no camera 3 on a podcast.
You're right.
So I need you to say, "Hey, for those who are watching the video on Facebook or YouTube, we're going to go to camera 3 now."
Sure.
Okay, that's all.
Sure.
Go right ahead.
Well, we're getting used to it, but I will tell you that more people consume this visually than audio.
Right. I don't. Well, then let's start a video cast and we'll stop the podcast. I don't know what.
No. It's they can both happen at the same time. In fact, they're both happening now.
Here we go. If you're listening to the audio from our wonderful video cast, you have no idea. But
yeah,
will you go to camera 3 now for us, please?
Well, I'll go to camera 2. No one's in camera 2 shot now. They all walked. But that's if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, then that's basically the rental house. You can see the living room of the rental house. We have one of those prototypical Orlando resort rental houses. So everybody has space. Instead of being in a hotel room or jammed into 2 hotel rooms, we're in a 5-bedroom house.
Well, something tells me it's really expensive too.
It's actually cheaper than the resorts.
So what is this, like an Airbnb sort of thing with somebody's house?
I think it's a company that I think what happened is they built this neighborhood. It's called Champions Gate. And it's a community. Champions Gate is a community. It's one of those upscale shopping type communities. And there's a couple of golf course neighborhoods and things like that. And so that's sort of what this is. And they have, in this particular neighborhood, there's probably 5 different styles of houses and sizes. And I think most of the companies, most of them were when they were built, were purchased by rental companies because it's a 20-minute drive to the parks.
I don't want to ask you how much this whole thing is costing, but it's costing a lot of money, isn't it?
Well, that kind of takes us back to the shirt. Would you like to see what my shirt says?
Well, I wanted to know, is it Cheese City or not? What is it? Is it really goofy? What is it?
It says,
all right, here we go. Most
expensive day
ever.
There's my shirt.
Yeah.
You
Did you pick that out?
No, of course I didn't pick it out.
Well, I didn't know because it actually is not cheesy. And it actually is.
No, it's more factual. I told you as we walk around the park and you see my shirt. Now, I will tell you, and people that are both watching and listening who have been to Disney World with their families aren't surprised by a group of 3, 5, 7, 10 people in matching shirts. I saw.
Does it really happen all the time?
The park's full of them. And some of them even have their names, like they don't know who their family member is that's with them, and so they need to know their name is on the shirt in case they forgot who the hell they are.
Don't you worry at some point that, like, let's say that you're a religious man, Tom, and by the way, let's have a drink of beer.
This
is the conversational beer.
This is a pre-beer. Yeah.
Let's say that you're a religious man. Mm-hmm. Aren't you a little concerned that in what Christians believe will be the second coming, that the Messiah will be here? Don't you think he'll separate us out into people who are their own and those who are in groups of T-shirted groups from Disney World? Isn't there a chance that that's the parting?
Yeah, and I'm not sure what side of history I'm going to be on.
Yeah, or something will happen. There'll be a fire. There'll be a disaster.
Right.
It's like Towering Inferno, and you're running out, and here you are with your group, or something. The CNN is covering a story, and you're there, and you got your family around you. It's just so dorky.
Now, the good news is that this is the last themed shirt I have to worry about. Tomorrow, when we go to Hollywood Studios, I'll be wearing a Harley shirt.
You get to wear your own clothing.
Yes, I don't have to wear clothing that was purchased for me. I can wear my own clothing.
Oh, that's really neat.
It's pretty nice, right?
Pick out your own clothes. All right, I want to learn more about this thing. But the funny thing is, while I'm ripping on you and you are really ready to take it, you enjoy the abuse. The fact is we're both truly family men. It's what we are. It's what we've always been. It's a big part of us. We love our kids. We love our grandkids. We are devoted to the wonderful, wonderful women in our life. And I want you to always be devoted to your wife because she really brings some great treats on New Year's Eve to our house. And
Well,
I
she's
want
the
you to.
queen of the charcuterie board, is what she is.
She knows charcuterie. She knows
That's
it
right.
well. So I want you to keep her so that I can keep myself in charcuterie.
But remember, she's the one that put me in this shirt.
Yeah, that's
and
a
the
small
shirt
price.
yesterday. And the shirt yesterday.
For a decent charcuterie board, I mean, that's a small price.
So
hey, by the way,
as long as you get a charcuterie board, you don't care what happens to me, is what you're saying.
No, I really don't. But we still have the board. How am I to return that?
Oh, you still have our board. We'll be back next week.
No. I mean, well, what's the neighborly thing to do?
In other words, you should put something on it and then bring it over?
Right. Is that how it works?
Yeah, you could just find some craft beer and just duct tape it to it, and then just bring it over to my house. That seems fair.
Duct tape on there. That's perfect. That's great. Let's get to this. You know what? Hold on a second. Before we get to the conversational beer, which is going to be a lot of fun, a very serious but quick mention right now that putting us off kilter a little bit today is that we need to produce. It is our time to put out this show today, and the podcast is released tomorrow. There's news that's broken out of D.C. today. There's been some protests and some level of storming and breaking into the Capitol grounds, and a lot of concern for senators and representatives and order of democracy. For the message for D.C. and the Capitol there, we hope everyone is safe and lawful, and the democracy is protected. That's what we're hoping for, and you'll find me on the sides of those issues where I believe we all belong: safety, lawfulness, and democracy. So
yeah, agreed. I mean, I didn't know this was going on until we got back from the park. And I saw some news on my phone, and then I turned on the TV here at the house, and yeah, I'm a little taken by it. So,
again, by the time a lot of people see or hear this, there's going to be a lot more news that's transpired and more changes, and I just hope that it's nothing. So that's where we are right now. We'll put that to the side. Let's go for that conversational beer, and very soon, probably next podcast, we'll have our special music introduction, our musical interlude for the conversational beer.
Interesting. I like that.
The rules surrounding the conversational beer are fairly simple. We all have to be drinking it, and it can only happen once.
Yes.
On Tom's World Beer Tour.
So this is episode 4. So this will be the 4th individual beer that we have had, not to be repeated. Doesn't mean we can't enjoy it later. Just never repeated on this show.
Here's an idea. That when we can backtrack on this a little bit, and that we maybe take turns or just whatever we feel strongest about, and we write up a little bit of an appraisal of the beer, a critique of the beer, and so you can go back to the website tomsworldbeertour.com and go, what have they had and how do they feel about it? Right?
I think that would be fantastic. I have gotten correspondence at tomsworldbeertour@gmail.com, which if you're watching along the bottom of the screen right there, that blue thing, if you're watching us, you can see it. If you're listening to us on the podcast, you can go to you can email us at tomsworldbeertour@gmail.com. And I've gotten some correspondence from people that have said, hey, man, love the show, and would love to know more about the beers. I would love for you to spend a little bit more time on the conversational beer. And,
well, let's do that then.
But
at no point are we expecting this to be satisfying the appetite of someone who is a true beer connoisseur, snob.
No. I got a friend that does that. All he does is a show about beer. That's all he does, and that's good for him because all he can talk about is beer. And that's great.
No, and we're always going to be drinking beer, as we're already drinking.
I mean,
beer,
this
I have to drink beer just to get us to our conversation.
This is the prelude beer.
Yeah. All right. So, with you being in Florida and me back in the Midwest, by the way, how's the weather down there? Because it sucks up here. Go ahead.
I have to tell you that if you're gonna go to theme parks and walk around all day, it started out in the low 60s, and I think the high today is 68. So it was a perfect day to be at the park. I had just I had a pullover. Here's the other thing: when the weather's in the low 60s, you take a picture as a group with your shirts on, and then when you get to the park, I had a pullover on, which means you didn't see my shirt. All you saw was this. That's all you saw.
Hey, man. Hey, that's not cool.
Hey,
you were there with family. And you need to show that you can wear a nice long sleeve T-shirt under that T-shirt. You could even put a a pullover zip up underneath that.
No.
Hell, I don't care if you're wearing a parka.
No.
All right. You put the T-shirt on the outside so we all see it.
No, that's not what I did. What I did was I posed for a picture with my family at the rental house.
Yeah.
And then I put my pullover on. And then I went to the
when
park.
When you went out in public.
Yeah, it was great. Listen, you could see them all in their colors, and you could see the color of my shirt underneath. You knew I was wearing a matching shirt of some sort.
That's not good enough.
This coming from a man who told me, you're never coming to Disney, even though I texted you a picture today from lunch where I had a Sam Adams winter lager, which means you don't have a reason to not come here because they serve beer in the parks.
Honest to God, I got your text, but I didn't see the picture. It said I emailed you the link. No. You can get beer at Disney. Maybe that will change your mind about coming. I didn't see the picture, though.
Wait, do you see it now?
I'm looking at it now.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, before you get off this thing, you said walking around between like 60 and 68 degrees.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. My first times at an amusement park, it was the middle of summer. It was sweaty and just humid as hell. And you get one of these guys that comes up behind you, and he breathes like an overworked and almost outlived racehorse. He's kind of up on your neck, and he's taller than you. So his nostrils are above you.
Oh, it's going down the back of your shirt?
Oh, yeah, it's in the back of your neck. And you're like, oh, God. And it's the smell that has some kind of, there's like a bad aftershave involved with it, but also like aftershave that's been on him day after day after day after day. Like he gets up in the morning.
Like Brute by Fabergé or something like that?
Yeah. And he's coming, and you're like, it's 97 degrees, 97% humidity. Get your horse breathing nostrils off my neck, man.
Oh, that's disgusting. Well, here's the bright side. Because of COVID, yes, I have to wear a mask when we walk around the park. That's okay. They have little relaxation areas that you can go and sit at a table, spaced away from people, and you can take your mask off if you need a rest and don't want to wear your mask for a little while, or if you're eating or whatever the case may be. But because of COVID, the lines are spaced out, and they have all these little marks on the sidewalk, lines for you to stay behind. So there is no guy with Brute by Fabergé breathing down the back of my neck unless it's one of my kids.
So he's got the mask on too. It's the first thing I've realized how great these masks are is it keeps old horse nostrils off your ass.
And he's not on my back because he's 6 feet back in line.
6 feet back, and he has the mask.
Yeah, so when you walk up to – here's what happened today. We get there. First of all, during spring break, which is when we were supposed to go last time, between a 1 and a 10, it would have been like 9 would be how crowded it is. And they have a website that shows that kind of stuff. Today, it's a 2.
A 2.
So, like, getting onto Thunder Mountain Railroad or whatever the hell it's called, that roller coaster, we waited just under 30 minutes to get on one of the biggest rides in the park. The other rides, 15 minutes to get on a ride. I'm okay with that. What I don't like is let me stand in this hot, awful line for an hour for a 6-minute ride at best.
I've always liked you go to the ocean, you park your ass in the sand with a beer, and you tell the kids or grandkids, you want to ride? There it is. Look,
it's
heaven,
nature's pool. Enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
What I like is they all stay at their own house, and I get in my car, and I go to, like, Louisville, which is my Disneyland, and I go to distillery to distillery to distillery like they go to ride. So they go to Thunder Mountain Railroad, I go to Four Roses. They go to Space Mountain, I go to, Old Forester. That's
we're gonna have the beer. I'm sorry, the bourbon. And is it bourbon and whiskey or just bourbon? Which one are we gonna do?
I mean, we'll do whiskey because, once again, all bourbon is whiskey, but not all whiskey is bourbon, but all whiskey is fine.
But are we doing is it going to be all bourbon? Or
you're talking about the taste test?
Yeah, we're going to do it. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
That's
okay,
a whole other
conversational
thing.
beer.
But we are in Florida, and in fact, I bought, mine's way over there. The first store I went to, which was Publix, I told you about. By the way, not only did I get beer down here, what did I tell you else I was going to get?
You said you're going to get that damn key lime pie. You've got it ready to go. What are you going to drop it?
I almost dropped it on the computer. I don't know if you can see it well. There it is.
Just keep it up there. There you go.
Look at that.
Don't move it around.
Look at that. See the color? That's key lime pie. That's what key lime pie is supposed to look like.
Are you going to take a bite of it right now?
Yeah, I haven't had it yet. We just cut it. I haven't even tried it yet. Let's see. I know what it tastes like. I've had Publix key lime pie before. It's been a long time though.
I've never heard anybody really like promote, like a grocery store chain's pie.
Oh my God, this one. Hold on, I gotta put the mic out of the way. Let's see.
Yeah, here he goes. He's going in. For those who are watching on video, Facebook and YouTube, he's taking a bite right now.
You know how key lime pie, super creamy when done right.
Mm-hmm.
It looks white, off-white, with just maybe a palish yellow, if that.
Right.
That's the way key lime pie is supposed to be. You wouldn't think that a grocery store chain would be known for something amazing like this dessert. However, Publix, famous for key lime pie.
No, because you said so, or did you hear about it before?
I moved to Atlanta the first year of the Atlanta Thrashers. I was overseeing some stuff with the Atlanta Thrashers, and I was doing a national radio show. Pharrell on the Bench. We did the show out of Atlanta for a little while. And so I moved from California to Atlanta, and I'd never gone to a Publix before. So when we lived in a place called Dunwoody, which is on the north end of Atlanta, the local grocery store was this Publix. And so I went there, and I saw key lime pie. I like key lime pie, and I bought it and tasted it, and it was amazing. And then people in Atlanta told me, oh, Publix, the greatest key lime pie we've ever had.
So famous, but you didn't know that at the time.
I did not know until afterwards. Now I tell people all the time, if you live somewhere in the country, now, mind you, this podcast and the video that we have is consumed by people from coast to coast.
Right.
So if you are one of our people that watch and listen, and you live in the southern states where there's a Publix, and you didn't know that they had key lime pie, and you're a fan of key lime pie, come on now.
Well, and that's another thing. Like, I never had key lime pie growing up. It didn't exist in my little world.
It didn't exist in Missouri?
Well, I don't know who the hell. We don't have key limes growing in Missouri. What do you want me to tell you? I don't know what to tell you. I led a sheltered life. And when I found it for the first time, I was like, this is seriously a gift from the heavens up above.
Oh.
And so I've loved it ever since. If you're not into key lime pie, you need to get there. Let's talk about the conversational beer so I can pour this thing. Because I
got one too. I'm actually going to go straight from the can. I like the can. I like the look. I like the name.
Fine.
And I have a story about that ties into the name of this beer. So we can go into that.
Well, what we did was, since you were going to be in Florida, we went for which is the same thing we did while you were in California. We went for a Florida brewery, and something I've had quite a few from them. And I'm more likely to drink them in Florida, even though they're available here in my hometown. And we're talking about Cigar City Brewing. And this in particular is one that a lot of people have had and like. It's the High Life and the India Pale Ale. And so, have you had this before?
No. In fact, I bought a sixer last night at a 7-Eleven because Publix only had it in 12 packs. And I didn't think I was going to down 12 of them while I was here. With all the other stuff we have. So I went to and I haven't seen a 7-Eleven. That's usually a California thing. There's no 7-Eleven in Missouri, right?
No, they're around. It's not around me, but they're around in some places.
Anyway,
let's go for the thing.
So there we go.
And time for our conversational beer. A week from now, you'll be hearing a neat little theme song that comes up. It's time for our conversational beer.
So there it is again. For those of you watching, there's the can. It's beautiful. It's got a little green, little orange. Cigar City, little cigar on the top there. Let's cheers, my friend. You poured yours pretty heavy there.
Came through a little strong there at the end. That's a good
beer.
Citrusy, hoppy IPA.
That's what I like. You know, the conversational beer last show was from our friends at Stone, which is a Southern California, San Diego type company that's also in Northern California, and that's the type of IPAs I usually like. This is right there in it. It's like you said, little citrus back, not surprising from a Florida craft brewing company. There's a little citrus in there, of course. Delicious IPA. How did you find this? Just because you guys come down here to go to the Gulf?
Yes, and I had never seen Cigar City in my home state back in the day. So it was in Florida, and probably brother-in-law Michael who said, you got to try some of this stuff. And I don't even know that this is the first one I had. In fact, I would have to see what they've brewed over the years, because I had Cigar City the first time years ago, and I don't know that it was an IPA. So I have to see look more into their history and check it out. But yeah, it's been a long, and now it's been available around here for a long time. It's weird how you want something that you can't ever, like you and the key lime pie from Publix.
Right.
You want it. You want it. If Publix was around you, would you still be wanting it so much, or would you wind up having it like maybe once a year?
No, I would probably only have it once in a while because it wouldn't mean as much, which is why I'm having a bite now.
Yeah, because when you're down there, you're like, oh, I'm back in the South or the Southeast. I'm back to having this again.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There is a custard joint where you and I live that in August every year takes their custard and takes key lime pie and mixes it in.
Yeah, like what they call a concrete or something like that.
And that's when I probably have it the most. I don't think there's a place where we live that makes key lime pie this good. I don't know where the custard joint gets their key lime pie. I've always meant to ask them. I don't know where it comes from, but this is hard to.
Well, and I've asked for key lime pie on many an occasion in my life from Dynamite Deb, my wife.
Didn't you get a key lime cheesecake recently?
Yeah, key lime cheesecake. Key limes are very small,
right?
And so if you're going to grate them to get the zest off of there, she's using like a full board, and she's going like this on that board, and she's getting her knuckles on there, and she goes, "I swear I'm bleeding into your pie." And I go, "Hey man, whatever it takes, I don't care." And she's made some great ones. I mean, just really, really good. But it is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I don't know how Publix does it with that. Maybe they got some cheaters thing.
Well,
anyway,
and they call it. It's the original key lime pie. They're famous for it, and a pretty good sized key lime pie. How much you think you would pay for a really good, amazing, normal sized key lime pie?
I'm gonna guess $8.99.
Oh, I thought you would say higher because of the quality. No, $9.99, which seems fair.
Well, I know I saw it the other day. I swear I remembered it said $8.99. You showed me a picture of the damn thing.
I texted you a picture yesterday.
I think it said $8.99.
No, is it $9.99?
A little bit on the conversational beer before we get back into conversation, which is what it's all about. High Lie, Cigar City Brewing. It is 7.5%. It is an IPA. It's a citrusy IPA. There's a little bit of haze. It's not crazy, but there's a little bit in there. So it's almost like partially filtered. And I could drink this at refrigerator temperature or damn near counter temperature.
Well, according to the can that I'm reading, it's got a 6-hop variety inside.
6-hop variety.
6-hop variety. That's the first time I've ever seen on the side of a can something mentioning how many different types of hops.
I knew a girl once had a 6-hop variety. You know what I'm talking about. This is really. Does she
have a hazy citrus back too?
Yeah, there was a lot. This is so tasty. If we talk too much today,
God, it's good.
Long, I'm gonna have to open a second.
And I was only gonna buy a couple when I went to the convenience store. I first saw them as single cans, so I picked up 2 of them. I'm like, all right, I'll probably drink 2.
Yeah.
During the taping or whatever, and instead down below they had a 6er, so I'm like, I'll buy the 6er, and I'm sure I'll like it, and we're here for a few more days. And
so they have a couple others. There's one called a Humidor series in it, and one features like a cedar flavoring. I think they're like cedar staves of some kind that are in.
Why did I think that's what we were getting? Isn't that what we were supposed to find, or did I find the wrong one?
We talked about it, but I thought that one is so far off the world of a lot of people, and it's really a weird flavor. I'm not saying it's bad.
You're talking about this other one, this Humidor series, the cedar one.
Yes.
Yeah.
That cedar one. So at some point, we'll check it out. We'll use it as a conversational beer. It's just going to be a while from now. So thank you, Cigar City Brewing. And it's out of Florida, and there you are in Disney World. You grew up in California. You went to Disneyland. Were you going there with parents and your sister?
Yeah, so I grew up in Northern California. So we, one time as kids, I think we made the trek down, maybe twice. Once when I was really little. The second time, I was just getting ready to turn 16. And I remember because I had to get so many hours of driving so that you could get your license, practical time. And so my dad let me drive the interstate from Northern California to Southern California. It's like a 4.5-hour drive or whatever. And it's pretty much a straight line. So I think he felt comfortable. And he said, you drive. And so
that helped. Yeah, that'll give you your time.
That's what I did
to get the thing done.
So we were like, I was like
weird?
15, I think.
Was it weird at about 16 going with your family to an amusement park? Did you feel like you were too old for that?
I mean, 15 at Disneyland, I think's too old. But I got to tell you, the people I've seen walking around today that don't have kids, I mean, come on, dude. Listen, I'm going there because my grandsons are 9 and 7.
That's
Okay,
perfect.
that's the perfect age, right? They're big enough; they can both get on most of the rides, and everything is like, "Ooh, this is great." And because of COVID, they don't have a big giant parade; they have little parades that pop up from time to time, things like that.
I don't need any parades.
That's
Am I
fine.
wrong?
It's fine. It doesn't, like I said, I'm here because I want to see their faces and enjoy it and all of that.
See. Here's the
there's
thing.
grown-ass people here without kids, dude.
You're an energetic guy. I'm an energetic guy. So I would never go to the amusement park and then be like, well, I'm just going to sit here for 2 hours and then like complain about a need just so I could sit back, have beer, and let them go do everything. I'm still going to be active if I was there. But the last thing that I need is a pop-up parade coming around.
Oh,
I
dude,
would start
and it was a
acting like
pop-up
an
parade
old
with
man.
Disney princesses.
Yeah, well, you're not supposed to be looking at the Disney princesses like you're looking in your eyes right now.
I mean,
Yes.
the 9-year-old today, we see the princess parade going by. The 9-year-old says, "I wonder how much they make to do this." And I looked him straight in the eyes and I said, "Not enough.
Not enough.
Not enough."
They've got to love it. They got to love it, right? They must.
Yeah, I mean,
Not
they
the
were
kids.
pretty
I mean,
excited. I mean, this trip was supposed to have, so not Christmas of 20, but Christmas of 19. They opened up a box on Christmas Day to find out that they were going to Disney in March.
Yeah, no. I didn't mean about the kids.
Oh,
I meant the princesses. They have to love. They have to love doing this, otherwise they wouldn't do it, right?
Oh my God, you better just work in fast food if you don't. I mean, but we've all heard the horror stories, right? We've all read either you've read on it online, you've read a story, or you've watched a video or something about how people who cast members, they're called, not employees, they're called cast members, those that work at Disney, of what it's like behind the scenes and all of that. Listen, out in front of the guests, they're the happiest people. They make sure the park is clean. They make sure that you're having a good time. There's photographers all over the park, so if you have one of these things right here, see this band? Like, my entire life is tied to my wrist right now. My credit card and my tickets.
Is that electronic?
Yeah, everything for this trip.
No, I mean, does it have to be charged?
No. I think there's just a little chip in it. I don't know.
I don't know how this crap works.
I didn't have to plug it in. It worked today. So I mean, I got up to the ticket thing and boop, and then I was right inside. So
and it did the thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
But once again, these are the things that we do for our kids. Yeah, I did not choose this vacation. Let's be honest. And they're all here, and they could probably hear me, and they won't be surprised. But I mean, at the end of the day, this trip wasn't for me.
There's a couple things I need to ask about here. How do you get any like adult time where you're doing adult things away from pop-up parades happening in the middle of the day? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so there'll be some times where the four of them will take off and go somewhere, and we can go to like Epcot, and Epcot has more adult stuff, and there's I think we're doing an Italian dinner or something at Epcot, and they serve beer all over the parks, so it's not bad. I mean, you can zip away, and actually the thing I enjoyed the most today was a 3D movie cartoon thing with music that was really, really good. It was interactive, like when something splashed on the screen. Remember, did you ever see Kentucky Fried Movie?
Yes.
Okay,
Good God, I haven't heard anybody bring up that.
So imagine a Disney version of Kentucky Fried Movie where things are if it splashes, you get water on yourself, and I don't know. It's hard to explain, but the 3D was amazing. So I enjoyed that. I'm enjoying the fact that the lines are really short. It's a beautiful place to walk around. If you want to get your 10,000 steps, I mean, there are worse places to get 10,000 steps.
All right, back to your trips to Disneyland with your family when you were a kid. Were those your favorite vacations when you were young, or what was your favorite vacation?
No, when I was a kid, we used to go into San Francisco a lot. So family, we lived just outside of the Bay Area. So family from different parts of the country would come to town. They'd either stay with us or stay in a hotel close, and then we would make trips in, and we'd go to Alcatraz. Have you ever been to Alcatraz?
Wait. Let me get this right. Your parents would say, "Hey, kids, you've been so good this year. We're taking you to Alcatraz."
We liked it. We actually enjoyed it. My sister is 7 years younger than me, so I don't know if she liked it or not. But for myself, I enjoyed going to Fisherman's Wharf. I enjoyed going to Alcatraz.
Wow.
I mean, I liked theme parks when I got older, like a Great America type thing or Six Flags. I enjoyed that when I got older and I could ride roller coasters and all that. That was fun. But as a kid, it didn't. I mean, we went camping every year. My cousins and I up in Lake Tahoe. I looked forward to things like that. But Disney was fine. I don't know. I think the fact that we didn't live close to Disney, I never really thought about it.
It made it more interesting because it was farther away, or you didn't even think about it?
Yeah, I didn't really think about it.
Well, and Disneyland is different on the West Coast than Disney World is on the East Side. And I think there are people from the West Coast that travel all the way over to Disney World to take in that whole thing. And you mentioned there's a bunch of parks. I just really, given the chance, I'd rather take something that's a lot more natural and relaxing. It's just sometimes there's just the idea of a bunch of people doesn't sound good to me.
Well, no, and that's not my favorite thing either. I mean, let's be honest. My favorite vacation would be just leave me alone for 5 days and I'll be fine. That'd be fantastic.
All right. So, what are your favorite vacations that you took your kids to long before you became a grandparent?
That's a great question. I mean, they would come visit us in LA when I lived there because they lived with their mom and they would come visit me, and so they, we'd do the normal Southern California stuff. We'd go to Universal Studios and things like that. I mean, that was the vacation that made them happy, just like this vacation. I mean, that's what this is about. This vacation, once again, is not about me.
But you never took your kids to somewhere exotic or like some resort kind of place or anything like that?
No, not really. No.
Now, see, one of my grandsons has already been with us to Mexico. It was a family trip,
right.
And he got to do, all inclusive, hanging out at this really
cool
going
to Mexico, that's not a sacrifice. You're good with that. What's the trip that you went on where you're like, yeah, this isn't for me? We're gonna do this.
You mean I was an adult and I did?
Yeah.
And
you had to go.
There was only one, and it was my fault. And I made the stupid decision to do this. It was me and two of the kids for the spring break, and so I'm like, what am I going to do with just two of the kids, the two younger kids? And I'm like, I know what we'll do. We'll go to, in the middle of March, crappy winter weather. Let's go to Silver Dollar City in Missouri.
Oh, that sounds horrible already.
It was so bad. It was if they weren't fighting with me, they were
Silver Dollar City.
Pardon me?
Why does anyone want to go there?
Well, I don't. I was trying to find something to do with them, and I spent a small fortune. Like, I can't explain, like, everything I thought. I was like, I'll just do this quick thing I can drive to. It wound up being a stupid amount of money, a horrible time. I don't think they had a good time at all. It was bad. So, yes, thank you for bringing up one of the worst memories of my life.
Well, I'm in mine, so you should at least bring up yours.
Yeah, I guess that. Hey, man, but we've got beer going on, so we got that.
We do. We do have our High Life from Cigar City, which is great.
Yeah.
God, and I wonder how national is this? I mean, you can get it in Florida, you can get it in Missouri. I wonder where else you can get it.
That's a good question. I mean, all throughout the South, I think you're going to find that.
Here's what's funny about High Life, by the way.
They've grown.
When Dodger Spring Training used to be in Vero Beach, Florida, about 90 miles south of here. So I would fly into Orlando, get a car, drive down to Vero Beach, and I'd stay there for 6 weeks. And it was like a little resort. It was like man camp, right? You're hanging out, you were watching baseball. I stayed in a room right there on the facility. Get up in the morning, throw on shorts and a polo, and walk out to the ball fields, and it just had that smell of spring, right? Well, and rotten eggs. By the way, did you know the Florida smells like rotten eggs?
Like the whole state?
Well, it just does. It's the reclaimed water. It's vile. As soon as we got to the state, I got out of the car. I was like, yeah, I'm in Florida. I can smell it. It's not great. But anyways, when you're down here for 6 weeks and you're in Vero Beach, which is for the nearly weds and the newly deads, as they call it, there's not a lot to do because you're too far away from Orlando and too far away from Miami. You're in the middle of the state on the east side. About 10 miles south was minor league High-Li. Not regular High-Li, minor league High-Li.
Okay, will you explain to me? I mean, because I kind of know what High-Li is, but I don't know that I've ever truly seen it. It's a little scoop thing that throws a ball, right?
Yeah, I think I showed you a video the other night. It's like racquetball that involves death, right?
Because
there's a ball, but the ball is really hard. Like it's a big like concrete wall and a concrete floor, and you've got this scoop looking thing that that you wing the ball, right? So if you do it right, it comes out out of this curve handle.
It's like a little catapult launcher.
Yeah, like that spear you showed me the other night, which we're gonna have to talk about at some point. But I mean, it's one of the most corrupt sports out there. It's totally corrupt. It's big in Miami. Not
How
that
is
that's
it corrupt?
why,
like they're using it as a mask for
they
prostitution.
bet on it.
Drugs?
They bet on it.
They bet on it.
They bet on it, and it's really, really corrupt. And then we go down to what looks like it could have been an old bowl. You know when you walk into an old bowling alley and you look up at the ceiling tiles, the asbestos ceiling tiles, and they have this tinge of yellow because people have been smoking in there for
I think the
50
asbestos
years.
was up underneath there or above there, but yes, I know the.
You know what I'm talking about, right? They're those
Yeah.
acoustic tiles, and they have little holes in them. They're white. Well, these aren't white. These are tinged brownish yellow. They're just disgusting. So in the middle of nowhere in Central Florida is minor league highlight, and we would go down there for fun because you could bet on it, and who knows what the hell we were doing. But you would go in, get a couple of beers, and you would sit in stands that were angled up a little bit, so that you could kind of see all the action.
Yeah.
And we had no idea what the hell we were watching. We would cheer when people cheered. We would boo when other people booed. We didn't know what the hell we were doing.
Were you guys placing bets?
Yeah, I don't know how, though. I mean, I don't know what we were betting on. This is a long time ago. This is in the early 90s.
And did the baseball players go with you?
Sometimes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyways, so when you brought this beer up, when you said, hey, man, Cigar City, they have this beer, this High Life, immediately when I hear High Life, because I don't know that most people even know what the hell High Life is.
Well, let me ask you this thing. Now, this is going to take it back a long way.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a real quick snippet? All I can see are the two bikini asses. Wasn't there a quick snippet of highlight on the opening credits of Miami Vice?
Yeah, there was a guy that was serving, right? He was in like a white polo shirt, and he just was winged back like this. And he was just, that's what you saw for like 3 seconds.
If even that was really quick. So the only place I've ever figured highlight exists in the United States is in Florida. So it must be.
Yeah. Well, I think it's I don't know where I don't know if it's a Cuban sport. I'd have to look it up. But anyways,
back to the girls let's talk about the importance of the girls in the opening credits. On the right or on the left? Which one were you? Which one did you go for? Because I already got mine.
I'm trying to think about it now.
Yeah, see?
If I remember correctly, I'm going to say right.
I wanted the left. Perfect.
Yeah.
See, that's why you and I always get along.
Yeah.
We understand
Miami
each other.
Vice. What a great show that was.
It was something. You know what? In the time.
During that time, department stores like Macy's and things like that sold an electric razor that gave you just the right amount of stubble.
Yeah. Just the right
amount. And it was
amount,
designed that way. And I think Don Johnson might have actually promoted it. But
he
it was
probably did.
So there was the pastel T-shirt underneath a pastel jacket that wasn't the same color.
Or white.
Right, or white. And that stupid T-shirt, Lamborghinis that were just not economical at all.
And I've never been a man of style. I mean, generally speaking, T-shirt, jeans, and a pair of boots is really, I'm comfortable, and it's never going to go out of style. But like that Miami Vice look, like if it never faded, I'd be wearing it today. I think it's comfortable. It feels good.
Did you do the pushed up sleeves on the jacket and the whole deal?
Oh God, yeah. I hate sleeves all the way down to my. That's why I was like, wait. Things are looking good.
So what you're saying is, there are pictures of you somewhere.
Oh yeah.
In that outfit.
I think so.
You're kidding,
I
right?
think so. And I liked, and then the pants. They were pants that were like. Had a lot of room to them, right?
Well, yeah, they were pleated. First of all, they were pleated.
Yeah, pleated, man. That gives you some boy room, right?
It gives you some
comfortable.
Room.
And then what do you got on your feet? You got like some
loafers,
shoes. What?
Loafers. Some loafers. They didn't have laces. They were slip-ons.
Or you could even do flip-flops. Or you could be barefoot.
You're
coming off the boat. You're barefoot, but you're still wearing. What are you wearing?
That was the kind. Those were like linen pants. They were like really thin. And when you walked on the beach, you would roll up the bottoms, and you would you'd like carry your shoes, like this.
So I go to Mexico, I don't know, like 8, 9 years ago, and I've got a pair of those, and they've got a drawstring, right? And I mean, they're really comfortable. It's like, how you doing? I got a drawstring in my trousers.
So what you're saying is you wore pajama pants in Mexico?
Sort of, yeah.
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 Nice.
And so, and I pulled them out. And I went to put them on, and my youngest looks at me, and she's a fashion plate. And so Jessie Marie goes, "What are those?" and kind of laughs. And I'm like, "Okay, I'm never wearing these again now." So I'm like,
but you will now.
So I went out with
because
jeans,
you understand in
t-shirt.
COVID, with everybody working from home and doing things like we are on cameras, you can wear whatever you want. You know how many people are wearing something similar to what you loved? They're wearing some sort of drawstring pants, if they're even wearing pants, but they're wearing drawstring pants, no shoes, at the office.
Let me tell you something. The next time we do the show this way, where I'm in my home studio, I'm wearing those Miami Vice, walking on the beach.
No, you should wear them next week when we're in the same room.
I'm not wearing them with you. No, I've had people laugh at me. Remember, my family members laughed at me. They're all going to laugh at you. And it felt horrible. And so I almost threw them away. But honestly, there's going to be some time in the future where I'm going to sit there. Did you ever have a gauze shirt?
A what?
A gauze button-up shirt. Gauze. Yeah, it could only be hand washed. They came out in the late 70s.
No.
So it was kind of like disco and post-disco era.
No.
And it was seriously like a gauze feeling, like you could hold it up and look through that thing.
Oh, no.
Like if someone was in an auto accident, you go, hold on a second, rip the shirt off. I'm like,
no.
God, stab.
When I was really into in that junior high school, early 20s, it was those tight-fitting. They called them parachute pants because they were made out of like the nylon.
Yeah,
that was like a parachute, right? Yeah. And you'd go to Chess King in the mall to buy them. By the way, you go to Chess King and you would get the parachute pants.
Is that Chess King, like the game, or
Chess? Not Chess King. No, not this.
Not Chess the King of the Chest. Okay.
Yeah, no, Chess. Which is making a comeback because of the Queen's Gambit, by the way, on Netflix. But Chess King, and you'd go in there and you'd get your green, like olive color or silver or black parachute pants. They were pretty narrow at the bottom, and that's what you wore. That, and maybe you had a jacket a la Michael Jackson that had like a ton of zippers on it.
Right.
And
so you did that.
I did that, and then my everyday was some sort of animal polo, La Tigra or whatever, one of those.
Right.
And Levi's 501s that you had to buy 1 inch bigger in the waist and 2 inches too long, and you would put them in the tub and shrink them.
Yep.
Because they weren't pre-shrunk.
And nobody understands that now. But see, the stuff you were naming, like the parachute pants and stuff like that, if it was in today and it was acceptable for a guy your age to wear it, you'd put it on.
No.
Come on.
No, because here's the thing. This is the point I'm getting at, is that certain things make their way back. So, for instance, in the 80s, I wore 501 jeans, polos, and Vans tennis shoes, either lace-up or slip-on. I wore the lace-up ones.
Yeah, that's after you're missing me. I was coming golf.
Right, and we wanted them to be tight at the bottom, so we would roll them to the side, and we would use like safety pins to keep them tight at the bottom.
Wow.
Now, in 2021, what is everybody wearing? They're wearing slim fit jeans. Like I wear slim fit jeans that have a little bit of elastic in them to give a little bit because I'm 51 years old. But they're slim at the bottom.
I didn't know that's what Cheap Trick meant when they said, was it Supertramp? Give a little bit.
Supertramp. It's Supertramp. So
I'm wearing singing to their jeans.
So I wear polo shirts and t-shirts. I wear slim fit jeans that are tighter at the bottom, and I wear Vans. That comes back. You notice what didn't come back.
So
nobody is wearing pastel shirts and pastel jackets. It's not coming back.
You know what? My drawstring beach pants, I'm wearing them next time I'm on a sandy beach. I'm going to walk out there like 11 p.m. and the sand's going to be coming over, and I'm going to be walking out there with a little cocktail in my hand.
It's all of a sudden, it's Cocktail, the movie? Like you and Tom Cruise? You leave the big city to go off to a beach somewhere?
Me and Tom Cruise. He's going to look over and see me in the drawstrings, and we're going to get along pretty well. It's not going to be a sexual thing. We're just going to get along as friends. That's all.
But don't you feel like you're wearing pajamas when you wear those things? Because they're really like pajama pants.
Yeah, I've got a couple pairs of pajama pants I wear in the wintertime. and I would never wear them on a beach. But these pants, I'm telling you, whatever. You know what? Someday, as couples, we're going to go on vacation.
Okay, thank you for clarifying and not
Yeah,
saying
no.
as a couple.
No, I'm not taking you with me to Mexico or to St. Thomas, because what if I run into Tom Cruise and I got to fight between?
Well, that's a good
You know,
point.
you.
I'm much taller than Tom Cruise is.
I know that you are. Isn't everybody, even
Yes,
me?
even you.
And so we're gonna go as couples, and we're gonna go like, oh, don't we have the reservations at the little steakhouse tonight? We'll be like, yeah, and we're gonna walk out of our little condo things and meet on the sidewalk with these palms, and people walking by saying Buenos dias and Buenos noches and Buenos tardes and the whole thing, and you're gonna look over and you're like, wow. And Samantha, your wife, is gonna go, Tom, those are nice vacation beach pass. I'm gonna say, yeah, aren't they? Thank you. And then I'm gonna look back at Deb, and be like, because she's one of the people that gave me trouble about it. And I'm gonna cinch my drawstring and walk off.
Okay,
as
so
a man of pride.
if Z Cavaricci's, like those muscle pants, the guys that would work out a lot, they were like these hammer pants.
Okay.
If those come back,
sure
are you going to wear those too?
Well, I never wore those. But I never had a desire to wear those.
But you'll wear these drawstring pajama pants out in public.
All right, look, Crockett or Tubbs, who do you think dressed better in Miami Vice? I already asked you which girl.
I can tell you right now, Tubbs. Tubbs was a much better dresser than Crockett.
And
Crockett was.
Tubbs said he said less, which is not like me. But he said less, which made him more, I think,
mysterious
admirable.
and mysterious.
Mysterious. He said less, and by the way, he didn't have many lines to learn. Hey, Sonny. That was about it. Sonny would be like,
no,
hey.
And that guy did not go on to do much, whereas Don Johnson survived beyond Miami Vice.
He had a lot. He had a lot after that. All right. Here's something on the podcast. I got to spend a little housekeeping note over here. I've talked with some people, as you have. We have a discrepancy on how long we should go with our podcast each week.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some saying that we should go 60 minutes. You've said if we go 90 minutes, it's okay. Now.
Yeah. I would tell you that the longest podcast of the 3 that we did has been consumed the most, both visually and as an audio podcast.
So you're saying
I'm saying it doesn't matter. I think every show has a natural end. You can sort of feel when it's coming to the end of the conversation.
Well, I think, number one, when we have a third player on board, whether there's someone that is a specific interview or it's just a friend that's joining us, and we almost had one today, by the way. I threw out an invitation and didn't want it happening. When you put a third player in here, it just gets stupid. I don't mean a bad way. It gets longer without anyone's control. It's just going to happen.
Right.
And so that's going to happen. When there's 2 of us, I want to make sure that we don't overstay our welcome. And so I kind of feel like I would like to wrap up some discussion about you and your family vacation. And I might even have to open another of our conversational beers.
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I finished the Prelude beer. I have about a third left of the conversational beer, and I have about 3/4 of a piece of key lime pie left.
Oh yeah, you got the key lime pie.
Oh dude.
When you hit the music out.
You mean when you hit the music out?
I'm in charge, aren't I? When I hit the music out, I want you to start eating the pie on screen. When our mics go down.
Different than when I ate the burger. Which, by the way, for everyone that watched visually the first show, that was done on purpose, right? The half-pound burger that I basically stared into the camera and ate in, I think, 15 bites, which I've never done in my life. I'll never do that again, by the way.
Well, you may have done it when you were a kid, but never as a grown-ass man enjoying a burger.
I felt horrible. So I'm gonna truly enjoy this slice of key lime pie.
As I think you should. I am pouring another one from our conversational beer today. We're featuring High Life, the beer from Cigar City Brewing out of Florida, where Tom Boman is this week on Tom's World Beer Tour. All right, you're there at Disney World. Would you explain to me the parks, please? Because I've been in the area. I went with family. We were in Lakeland, which is halfway between Orlando and Tampa.
Okay.
And we all went to the area of Orlando where the parks are.
Right.
And we did like 1.5 parks. I spent very little time there. It was fine. I didn't have to wear the T-shirt things. It was nothing. Would you explain to me which parks are in Orlando and what you're paying for when you tell us, and where you're going when you tell someone we're going to Disney World?
All right, so Disney World is comprised of a handful of actual parks, right? So there's Walt Disney World, right, with the castle and Frontierland and Tomorrowland and all that fun stuff, right? What you traditionally think of as Disneyland or Disney World.
Disney World, okay, that's
right?
that's the one that Tinkerbell's flying around.
Yeah, so to put it in perspective, Disneyland, which is in Southern California, if you picked up Disneyland, it would fit in Disney World's parking lot.
So this swamp that Walt Disney looked at, that's what he looked at. It was swamp.
It was swampland.
And he said, we're going to put a magnificent park here. Obviously, he'd already done it in California.
Right.
It was like, everyone was like, we know we can do it. And he did. But it was only the beginning. When you go to Disney World, you don't, for your admission, get into other parks. You have to pay for that additionally, correct?
So you can do a couple things. You can pay for one particular park. You can do what's called a park hopper, where you can bounce back and forth between all the parks as much as you want.
And then it's according to like how many days you want to do it.
Right. We didn't do that. So what we did is we're here for five park days. So we flew in yesterday. That was Tuesday. And we're here at the parks Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 5 days. And then Monday we're on a plane back. So there's 4 parks, and we're bookending with Magic Kingdom. So we went to Magic Kingdom today.
Okay.
Right? So we're at Magic Kingdom. Then tomorrow we're at the Hollywood Studios, which is
what it's called.
It's called the Disney. Yeah, it's called the Hollywood Studios.
Was it always called that?
No, I think it was called something else.
Universal Studios? No.
No, that's a whole nother part. But it's called Disney's Hollywood Studios, and that's where the big attraction now is Star Wars. So that's where all the Star Wars stuff is. So tomorrow we're going to be on the Millennium Falcon at some point, things like that. So that's all tomorrow. Then there's the Animal Kingdom, right?
Is that like a zoo?
It's a big safari park, and they have other things too. They have rides and things there, but then they also have where you
can you ride a giraffe, or what do you mean?
You can ride through and see animals. Like
you're not riding an animal.
No. There's no riding of the animals.
Well, I don't know. You said there were animals, and you go on rides. I'm like, is it a burro or is it an elephant? I don't know.
It's just
an ostrich. They can be ridden.
So there's the animal park, and then there's Epcot. That's the big ball.
Yeah.
And the Epcot's got all sorts of other crap, and there's nice restaurants over there and things from all over the globe.
Is the ball a building? Because it looks like an inefficient way to make a building.
No, it's a building. And I think they built that for a reason. Wasn't it for like a World's Expo or something? I don't remember exactly.
I think something like that back in the day.
So there's Disney Animal Kingdom. And then, of course, the last day we're going back to the Magic Kingdom. So you got Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, the Animal Kingdom, Epcot, back to Walt Disney World.
Let me ask you, where's your joy with Samantha as grandparents? In this escape, what is the part that you get the most joy out of?
I mean, I like seeing their face. They're happy. I mean, the first thing we did this morning is we rode the Big Thunder Railroad, which is the train roller coaster, which I dug. I mean, that was fine. That's a big kid's ride. Line wasn't very long, and you ride. It takes 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I think that was your nickname in high school, wasn't it? Roller coaster.
It still is.
Enjoy all the ride for
2 or 3 minutes, and I'm good. There you go.
Good. So, nobody got hurt. So seeing them get excited, seeing them so excited to come through the big arches that say "Welcome to Walt Disney World." I mean, that's once again, this trip was not for me.
Well, you've got the perfect age because these guys can actually go to the restroom on their own and come back out, right?
Correct.
And it's not like they're going to go, down the walkway and pick somebody up and go hang out for an hour and have you like, what the hell's going on?
Well, I asked this question today. You go to get on any ride, and there's like 100 strollers parked outside of where the ride is.
Ooh.
You shouldn't come here if you need a stroller. I saw somebody with a little kid and a baby that could only be a couple months old, like in one of those little front holder things,
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
that kid is screaming to death because you know what that kid is saying? Why did you bring me here? There is nothing here for me, and now you've left me. You've taken me from my comfortable world, and you've brought me to this hellhole, and I have no control whatsoever.
Now listen. As adults, we do that to kids all the time, but we don't generally make plans for like 7 months that we're going to do this and then spend a small fortune doing it. It's one thing to take a newborn out to the ball fields where somebody's having a softball, baseball game, and they're crabby. You're like, I know this isn't your thing. It's another thing to travel with them 4,000 miles to take them to Disney World and spend all that money and have a little tiny infant screaming. That doesn't make
the dumbest thing I've ever seen, dude. I just don't get it. My thing would be if I need to bring somebody here in a stroller or in any kind of chair that has wheels on it.
Yeah.
Why am I doing that? Now I have a third grandchild here. I have Evie, who's 2. She's not here. She's back home with her other grandparents because she wouldn't be any fun on this trip.
Yeah, when you were telling me about the kids, I thought, aren't we missing one?
Yeah, no, it's not about her. 9 and 7 is perfect. 9 and 7 can enjoy the rides. They can enjoy everything.
They happen to be boys,
yes.
and I know them. They're rather outgoing. So whether the girls or boys, if they're outgoing, they're more likely to want to go on rides, I'm guessing.
Yeah, they love it. I mean, they're okay standing in line. Here's the nice thing about standing in line. So I'm out during the week, which I should be working. So if I have to stand in a line for 25 minutes, that's 25 minutes I'm on my phone and I'm answering email. So I'm actually staying up to date from my office. So it's semi-convenient. No one cares if I look at my phone and I'm answering emails or doing whatever I have to do, and then everybody moves forward 6 feet, I move forward 6 feet.
Right. Right.
I'm just multitasking. It's great. But the boys are having a great time, and they've got an extra phone that isn't tied to a phone number, so it's like a camera, so they're taking pictures. And we went on like the Peter Pan ride. They loved it. And as an adult, you start looking at, let me look behind the scenes of this stuff. How does this ride work for the next 3 minutes that I'm going through it? Oh, that's right. I'm hanging from a hook above that you're not supposed to see, which makes it seem like I'm flying and following Peter Pan. Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. All right, whatever. I mean, it's
it's a guy. It's what we do, right? We look up, we're like, how do they make this thing work? There's where they lubricate once a week.
And when I was 9, which would have been in the 70s, and you went to Disneyland and you saw the animatronic pirates on Pirates of the Caribbean, and they're like, hey, dude, it's the same. It's no different. It's the same.
Are you serious?
It's the same.
Well, let me go back to the fact that both of us are family men. It's what we like to do. We truly do. And I'm really, really glad you went with them. And I think it's a good thing to do. But this is not something you would do in a year and a half again, correct?
No, this is something I'll never do again.
Oh, God. That's the only thing I can think.
No,
and the animatronics you say are as bad as they were back then?
I mean, I think they've made them... There's more projection type stuff. But, I mean, let's be honest. Going through the Pirates of the Caribbean, it's still the waxy statues, and it's still... The pirates chasing the maidens around like this, and then there's the one.
Believe me, pirates are always going to chase maidens.
Yeah, but then there's the one, the other maiden who's chasing the one pirate with a broom, and it's the same technology. Like the last time I went to Disneyland was just before we left Southern California to come to the Midwest, so that would have been like in 2006. Around Christmas time, we made one more pilgrimage to Disneyland because Disneyland at Christmas, they big tree, the whole deal, it's fine. And I went on Pirates of the Caribbean. So that was 14 years ago. Not that long, but then again, a lot has changed technology-wise from 2006 to 2021.
Right.
But I guess Disney doesn't know that.
Well, I mean, we're probably expecting... We've seen things change digitally in our world so fast, and some, like animatronics. I know robotics are really getting up there, and so is... levels of AI, but it's just not.
But where are the holograms? Why isn't Pirates of the Caribbean completely hologram?
I know. That's what we thought it would be. By the way, let me explain to you my vacations on the Gulf of Mexico in Florida. And I did this for a long time. We would go down there and have, like, for instance, our youngest, when we took her the first time, she was 3 months old. And I would do this thing. It's a great technique, and I share this with everyone I know. Here's what you do: man, woman, old, young, volunteer to take care of the youngest in the late afternoons on the beaches of Florida by
Oh.
taking them back up to the condo, rocking them to sleep, and putting them down. Here's what I wound up with: the condo to myself during the hottest part of the day. Everybody's down on the beach. I would walk out on the balcony in the shade with the breeze on like the seventh floor. I've got the youngest down to sleep. I've got my guitar. I've got a little radio. I got binoculars, and I also have a cooler of about 7 beers by my side, sitting right here. And I would just there were no cell phones back then, and I would just sit there and relax and play little tunes on guitar, and I might have a cigar as well. And then everybody comes up like, "Thank you so much for babysitting." And I'm like, "Well, you owe me, you know."
We don't have enough time left in this particular episode to really break down all of the items you just explained.
Well, I'll be happy to go through it. That could be its own episode at a time.
Because I think I understood most of them. The guitar I get, the radio, the beer, but binoculars I think I understand. But
no, binoculars were only to be able to see my family on the beach, so they could wave to me and be like, "We need a drink," and I'd be like, "I'm babysitting," you know, and you do these like symbols across the yard.
But now with technology, you can just text and they can say, "Hey, can you bring us beers?" And you text back and go, "No, remember, I'm watching the little ones."
I'm watching the little. So I did this for our youngest, but then it was like I kept asking family members, "Are you sure you're not pregnant? Don't you need to have a baby? Because I need more children to, come in." I think it was my out every afternoon about 2 p.m. I'd be like, I think that little one over there needs a nap. And old Uncle Tom here is ready to take him up. Let's take him up there. Let's put him down. There we go. And then I'd get the balcony and the whole condo to myself. And they all sit out there getting polluted and getting all crappy. And I'm up there just relaxed, playing my guitar, having a cool time, watching the nice breeze. That's all.
And between you and I and everybody watching and listening,
yes.
I was supposed to leave the park by myself at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, can we talk about that,
and come
please?
back here and get ready for this taping and tape, and then I would be done. I would upload the show, and then I would take a nap.
I don't know what happened, but listen, when we got online together, I said, "Where is it?" I said, "I'm already having a beer." And you go, "Oh yeah, hey honey, I need a beer." And I looked at you like, "Who the hell are you calling honey?" Yeah. Apparently Samantha was there. I was like, "Why is Samantha back at the rental house with you?
Right.
You're supposed to be alone. Why are we whispering that?"
And then at like 4:30 Eastern time, they were supposed to go back to the park, and I was going to be here because you and I would be in the middle of taping the show, and they were going to go.
To have the whole place,
and then
you were
going to
sit back,
and I could take another nap.
How
did
you get screwed out of this?
They're still here.
Do you need to do you need me as an excuse tomorrow to get out of the park again?
Well, I already told you we're doing shows Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because that's just how it's
that's right.
Work.
That's right. We are. So we'll keep that in place.
I mean, listen, I love them, and the difference of having, and this is my piece of advice. If you're going to go on a big trip with your family, right? So there are 6 of us on this trip.
Yes.
There are 4 adults and 2 children. We have a minivan, which I'll never own, but I'm happy to have it on the vacation because there's plenty of room for everybody. The doors swing open wide. You can easily get in and out. Nobody has to touch each other. It's fantastic. And we're not jammed into 2 hotel rooms at a resort, which is nice. You can take a tram right over to the park. But when you go back, you're stuck in 2 rooms. We're in a beautiful 5-bedroom house. It's got a big open 2-story ceiling in the living room. It's got a nice kitchen. It's got a master on that side.
Cost you a chunk of change. There's nothing cheap about it.
It was cheaper than the resorts. It was cheaper. Here's what I will tell you. If you're going to make a vacation trip to Orlando, go on to Vrbo or VOBO, however you want to pronounce it. I think it's Vrbo, but you go on there, you find something at Champions Gate. That's where I'm at right now. It's called Champions Gate. It's 20 minutes from the parks. It's easy to get there. There's shopping around here. There's gas stations. There's all sorts of normal stuff. It's in an actual neighborhood.
See, if I was to try and talk you into camping,
Yeah.
Like,
no, I would go.
Would you? Would Samantha go?
I don't know. She might. Depends on how long it was for.
We do primitive camping and have zero problems with it at all. We have taken infants primitive camping and have the greatest time of our life. It's a good time. It's a great time.
I think it would be fun.
About...
But see, you like that trip. There are things on this trip that I am sacrificing because this trip isn't about me.
Yeah, we'll show everybody the T-shirt again. This is one of the things that here it is. Most
expensive day ever.
With that note, can I hit our close?
Please.
It's kind of what I was thinking that it might be time for. But I wasn't sure. And you're still teaching me about podcasting and video casting and everything else we're doing. So we got to keep that in mind, right? Thank you again to Cigar City Brewing for brewing our highlight, our conversational beer of the show. Show me that key lime pie again. Show me the actual pie. Go down to the plate. Yeah, it looks good.
Right.
Good. Thanks for being a part of it. Tom's World Beer Tour. That looks damn good.
This has been a podcast story. Tom's World Beer Tour. For future episodes, download and subscribe where you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeart, and Amazon Music. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Or send us an email at tomsworldbeertour@gmail.com. All content property of Tom's World Beer Tour, copyright 2021. No beer was harmed during this production. Only consumed.